Good morning, gamers! My name is Scyushi, and we're back again for another bit of news about Cube World. We actually have a full public release date now, which is awesome. And it's actually just going to end up being like not even a week after the alpha release. So we're going to end up looking at this new recent trailer to Cube World. But I just want to explain a couple things in case this is your first video. So basically, Cube World has been in development for over 6 years. In development, not really in development, honestly speaking. It's, you know, it was in development 6 years ago, and then he stopped developing it until recently. But anyways, now we're actually going to see a full release of this game coming out to Steam. Anyone who bought the game 6 years ago, like myself, has early access to the game on the 23rd, which is kind of absurd when you think about it. Like, you know, it's rewarding the people that bought the game and supported it years ago by letting us play it earlier than everybody else. It's just a very strange concept, you know, like you should open up the store to allow people to buy early access now. I don't know. Anyways, who cares? But thankfully, we did actually get a public release, so that is actually going to be on the 30th, as it explains in this trailer. Because this guy's, I don't know, it's not really like he's the best at social media, I'd say. It's just kind of like, oh, here's a bit of information, and thankfully everyone in the Cube World Discord is just really, really good at piecing together this puzzle piece, the big old puzzle, you know? So it's pretty cool, this trailer, honestly speaking, because I have already watched it. It's not going to be an organic view. But we do get to see quite a few things involved with it. More so about the biome development. Because the biggest thing that's been added to this game, near as I can tell, like this is, I'm talking about from a 6-year-old version of the game that I played. Looking at this one objectively, we see different biome generation. The map has definitely improved. There's emotes, who cares? But most importantly of all, they seem to have a lot more quests that you can end up getting from NPCs and stuff. But otherwise, I mean, you know, I hate to be overly critical, but we're sitting here and this is another empty world. Like, it's cool that there's generating this, like, you know, giant bridge and stuff. That's all really neat. And I like the fact that he's showing all these different potions for buffs so that you can end up making yourself even stronger, which is neat. And we're going to see a whole bunch of different dungeons generated. All of these, of course, were made by the developer. I would love it if there was some type of a way, you know, in future development that he could start accepting dungeons created by players, or if the game was allowed to have modded terrain and stuff like that. Because then I think that this game could just take off, you know? Because if it's all just up to this single developer, he's got an incredible, like, his track record is just an incredibly slow development time, if you can even say that. So he has said that he's going to end up continuously developing this game now that it's coming out on Steam. So hopefully that'll happen. We'll see. Honestly, I don't got my hopes up. That was a new biome, or a new robot enemy, I guess I would say. And then oceans are still going to end up being the same. This is a gigantic dungeon. And then over here, this is like, I don't know if these are lore stones, but it seems like when you interact with them, you end up getting a lore stat. So I'm not sure exactly what that's going to be for. Creature taming is back, so you can end up taming creatures by giving them various foods, and then you can end up riding them as well. So this is a new mechanic that he's advertised as well, where he actually just paid in order to fly this griffin or eagle, whatever, and oh my gosh, it goes fast. Like, faster than the world can generate, like, my gosh. And then it just drops you off at your destination. So it's a really handy way of traveling from one destination to another really, really fast. That said, that was just from the town, so you'd more so use that to travel to a destination you haven't been to yet. However, the one thing that he did show, or did talk about, he doesn't show it in this video, but it sounded awesome. First of all, the dungeons are way brighter than they used to be, so hopefully it means that the nighttime isn't disgusting, because all of these trailers are showing the day. The nighttime is so dark, or at least it was in the 6-year-old version, so hopefully he's rectified that by making it a little less uggles, because it doesn't make sense to me for this game to go pitch black when it's this type of a voxel game. But I don't know, like, I always had to cut nighttime out of my videos whenever I was playing it, and I hope that I don't have to do that again. It seems like dungeons have actually been a little bit better tweaked, though, because they have lighting and everything like that. But anyways, on to the point that I was trying to make. There's lava down there as well, it seems, which there wasn't really any hazards outside of spikes in the older version. But there is going to be fast traveling in this game. So as you end up going to res stations, you're going to be able to, like, you have to activate them with an instrument. This is what we've seen from another video. And then by activating it, you're essentially giving yourself a fast travel point. So right then and there, September 30th, 2019. I personally think that that should be right in the middle of the screen or something, because this is supposed to be, you know, this is a pretty monumentous occasion for that to end up happening, right? I'll just leave it on replay. We're not going to watch through the whole thing again. I just wanted to clear up a couple things that I've heard, you know, and talk about some of the rumors. So there was a issue with Steam more recently where a lot of to-be-announced games said that they were going to release September 30th. With Cube World, however, I was suspect to think that the dev put the September 30th release date and then he retracted it, and it seems like that is the case because now we actually get an official 30th release date. So I guess that is, like, you know, we're getting it on the 24th, I think, and then everybody else is getting it on the 30th. The other things that I wanted to answer was some very, very common questions that I have from a lot of you guys whenever I'm doing streams or just talking about Cube World in general. You know, I see you guys in the comments asking, is the game going to be free? Is it coming out on consoles? All of this stuff. So, you know, to answer the console one, that's going to be a little bit more complicated. But as far as the price tag, when I bought this game 6 years ago, it was 20 bucks. I'll assume that it's still going to be 20 bucks. It wouldn't make sense for him to jack up the price. I mean, maybe he'll charge 30 bucks. 40 would be pretty steep, honestly speaking. But I personally don't see that there would be a reason to upgrade the price, just because this clearly doesn't really have that much in terms of new content. You know, like, it's just that there's more to do in the current build of the game rather than, oh, this feels like it's fully complete or anything like that. You know, like, that's just me based on everything that I've seen in these trailers and stuff, because the biggest thing again is just the biome generation seems better. There's a lot more points of interest in NPCs, which is all we could have hoped for, and then the map just seems to be a lot better, because in the other trailer we saw, or in the other gameplay I should say, the 60 minutes of gameplay that we've already seen, he's actually using like waypoints and stuff like that. The map is actually highlighting points of interest. You'll talk to NPCs and then they'll tell you about a quest over here and over there, so on and so forth. You can actually just scan the map for towns and junk like that. It doesn't seem like there's any fog of war, but that could not be the case. You know, we'll see when we end up getting this game in a couple days, which I'm actually really excited about. That's actually so cool that this is coming out so soon. But anyways, as far as if this game is going to end up coming out on console, that's a bit more of a complicated answer. The short answer is just going to be a solid no. But the reason for that is because this is a game that took 6 years to end up actually having, like, it took 6 years for this guy to get his act together and actually release the game, okay? And aside from, you know, all the politics of it, what have you, like, I personally have already talked about way too much, but it's like, I do not see this game, you know, getting enough steam, or more so, I think that I could see this game on console, but it is a very weird PC game, okay? More so than any of it, I would be honestly very surprised if the developer himself would try to get this game onto a console release, much less if he would end up be willing to hire a team or something so that they could port this game, you know, rather than him trying to do it all himself, because as we've already seen with his track record, if he tries to do it all himself, I mean, you know, it could take another couple years or something. But just in general, I don't see this game coming out on console ever. I think it would be actually really cool if it did, because there's not really many games like this. It's arguably the same as a game like Trove. You know, a lot of people give that game a lot of slack, but I would still argue that Trove is a very unique game, especially for something on console. We don't really have that many, like, free-to-play, open access MMO games on consoles, let alone a game like Cube World as well. You know, we don't really have that many of these higher quality voxel indie games, I'll say. You know, like, we've got a lot of voxel games on consoles, obviously, But not all of them are particularly the best and of the best quality. Most of them are just Minecraft knockoffs, you know. Outside of, you know, we've got Terraria and all this stuff out on consoles and everything imaginable. I would hope that Cube World could end up, you know, taking the popularity that it's going to have right now for a little while, and then kind of going from there. But this is a game where, you know, it's pretty reliant on its old community for its success. Because everything about this game, everybody who's talking about this game are people like myself, where we're sitting here going, wow, that's actually coming out, you know? Like, I'll regularly talk to people in real life saying, oh yeah, hey, you know, Cube World's finally releasing, and they're like, really? You know, it's like, okay, cool, I guess. Like, it's not that big a deal for anybody outside of somebody like myself, where I played Cube World. I enjoyed it for what it was. I didn't get into the hype or into, oh, well, why didn't he release it or anything like that. Like, I had my frustrations with it because, in all honesty, I wanted this game to be successful, you know? Because it was a really cool game at its concept, but as of right now, I feel like this game might come out. It'll probably spark interest for a while. We'll see if it lasts a couple months. It depends. If the developer keeps developing it regularly with content updates, then sure, it could stay relevant, just because this game is kind of a you know, silly little indie game. But the whole thing is that this does still look like a 6-year-old game, you know? The funny thing is, like, this is the funniest thing of it all, is that of those 6 years, we haven't seen that many games out like this that have topped games like this. You know, like, that's just something that I think is pathetic about the gaming industry. We've got Minecraft being the most popular game of all time, and then we've got all these companies copying Minecraft without just, you know, like, do Minecraft but make your own spin on it. You know what I mean? Like, we see AAA companies make voxel games, but they don't fully understand the concept of why Minecraft became what it is. That's why the most hype game, I would say, right now of all time, even though nobody on the internet is talking about it, I'm talking about journalists and stuff like that. Like, everybody knows about Hytale. You know, that's the big one everyone's waiting for, because it looks like Minecraft 2. It looks like the predecessor, you know, it looks like, or a spiritual predecessor, I should say, because it's not the same company or anything like that. But it looks like, you know, these guys have tons of experience with Minecraft. They're taking the game and making it better. Cube World is just kind of its own thing that, you know, was a very action combat system. And I still would argue this game's great. I still would say that you guys should pick it up for sure when it comes out. But if you're unsure about it, I am going to end up having a series on it, so don't worry about that. Either way, thanks for watching. Very much appreciate it. Smash like, sub for more, sign on. Stay epic, everybody.